Hey everyone, Jason here. Welcome back to the layout. It's early June 2020. It's been about 2.5 months since my last video, and also about 2.5 months since the coronavirus took over the country and really the whole world. Things are starting to open back up in a lot of states, still a lot of lockdowns in other states. So I just hope that things continue to improve and more things open up. I wish I could say that everything was peachy and wonderful in my life personally. Unfortunately, there's a lot of struggles that I'm dealing with going through all of this, as so many millions of other Americans and people around the world are dealing with. But I tend to be an optimistic person, and I look forward to brighter days ahead, hopefully. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to focus on something that I do enjoy and I do view as a fun part of my life, and that was to show you what's been going on with the trains, show you a couple new additions, and what I've been working on. Before I dive into the layout and my new basement progress, I did want to say a big thanks to everybody who watches my videos and subscribes. I'm closing in on 4,000 subscribers. I think I'm only 100 or 200 away from reaching that mark. My hope is that once this video is published, that'll hopefully get me closer, if not put me over that mark. And I've actually been working on a really big video of just train action running around the layout. I've worked on filming almost every single engine and rolling stock that I own running on this layout. There are a few that didn't make it into the video, but I just have too much stuff in it. I couldn't put every single thing on the layout and film it, but that's going to be a really big video, and I hope that I can release that once I hit 4,000 subscribers. So a big thank you to everyone who watches. You know, I've never monetized my videos, I've never advertised or had sponsors. This has all been done just for fun. And I started it it's been about 10 years now since I posted my first video. So all of this has just been a real joy to share with all of you, and I really appreciate all of you who keep watching and comment and support this channel. Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what's been added to the layout. Here's a car that's not really a stranger to the layout. It's another steel coil car made by Atlas. I work in the steel industry personally, so I really like these cars and I like having a lot of them on my layout. So just another addition, and it's an Atlas Masterclass rolling stock car, so it's top of the line. I really think Atlas makes the best stuff. I say that time and time again, especially when it comes to freight cars. And like all the other ones I have on the layout, the top does come off just like that, and it comes with the 4 steel coil loads. So pretty nice car, and it's a good addition to my already pretty nice sized fleet of steel coil cars. So if you've been watching my past videos, you'll know that I've been slowly accumulating a fleet of these Lionel scale auto racks, and I sold most of my old MTH auto racks in favor of the Lionel versions, which I do think Lionel does a very nice job with these cars. They're full scale proportions, the detail's great, you can see right through them, and they offered some new ones in their catalog from I think maybe a year and a half ago. So they finally started showing up, and when I was at the store at Stockyard Express picking some up, I saw the Ferromex one on display, which is what you see right here. I thought it was really sharp looking. The gray and the red looked really good, and the little separately applied details on the ends that were painted red as well I thought looked really good. So I picked up 4 total. So here is the Ferromex version, and here is the BNSF version, which is in a really nice orange color. It looks very similar to the prototype. You see these out on auto rack trains a lot these days, so I decided to pick one of these up as well. And finally, here's a Norfolk Southern and a Csx Auto Rack. Now, I usually don't complain very much in my videos about products, but I am going to voice some frustration here. This color yellow on these cars I think was done very poorly. It's not even close to the yellow that's used on the prototypes. This camera isn't really picking it up that well, but these cars are more of like a neon yellow. Like, it almost hurts my eyes to look at them. It's such bright yellow. And it also kind of looks toyish and tacky because of the color yellow they used. Now, for comparison, here is an older, not even that old, just a couple year old auto rack that Lionel made. And you can see what a dramatic color difference it is. And if you look at pictures of the prototype, the one that's closer to the camera is much more accurate as to the color yellow that should be used on these cars. Now, this is frustrating to me because I was really looking forward to a Norfolk Southern and a CSX version of these cars, and I think it was at least a year and a half, if not 2 years, that I waited for these to show up. And when they come looking like this, it's quite a letdown. You know, some people have argued that, well, you know, they were cataloged looking kind of yellows, but I pulled up the catalog and the pictures from it, and even in the catalog they weren't this bright neon yellow that you see here. And others will always bring up the, well, these are toys and you shouldn't take them so seriously. And while I agree to that, with that to some extent, these cars are over $100 each. When you get to that point, these should be accurate. At that point, you're appealing to modelers who want to model the prototype and want to do so accurately. And for that kind of money, I expect a color to be right on a car, especially when you've already proven that you can do the color correctly in previous runs. So I'm trying to think of how I'm going to move past this. I'm probably going to have somebody repaint these professionally. I could weather them, but so far I don't weather any of my trains, so I think I'm going to probably try to find someone who will repaint them for me and hopefully make them match my other cars a lot better. The cars themselves are well detailed and function just perfectly. That's not the issue. It's the color that was assigned to them. So all that being said, I want to make it very clear, I'm not trying to bash Lionel. I've bought dozens and dozens and dozens of their products over the past, and they make some really great stuff. But this is a major issue, I think, and it's one that has appeared in more places with their products as of late. Not just on freight cars, but diesels and steam engines as well. You know, I'm sure it's the result of having to change production to another country, but I just really hope that Lionel can get their color palette straightened out and that they can start making products that we don't have to, you know, take a gamble on whether or not it's going to be the right color or not. So just that being said, I don't want people to start bashing Lionel and saying that their stuff is terrible, or coming at me and saying that I'm an idiot either. I mean, this is my opinion, and I've consulted with a lot of people on the color of these cars, and the general consensus is that everyone's in agreement. These just weren't painted the right color. Alright, so now that you've seen everything that's been added to this layout, let's go ahead and take a look at my new basement at my house up in Detroit, Michigan, so you can see the progress I've been making up there. Next quick update for the basement is that the walls have all been primed, and then I had to fix up any spots that weren't quite perfect, so did some remudding of some imperfections and sanding, and then primed that as well. So next that you might see on the floor, there's the outline of the layout, which comes all the way over here to this corner. So here's your first look at how this new layout's going to be. This is a peninsula that'll come off to this side here. Plan is to have roundhouse and turntable over here, and hopefully some engine storage for diesels as well. And you know, you're gonna have to use your imagination here. This foosball table won't be there. But as you can see, the layout will cover a pretty large space. It's going to be very similar to my current layout, only longer and wider. My current layout is 21 by 8 feet. This one is going to be 9 feet wide in its narrowest, and I think up to maybe 12 feet wide, or even more in this section right here. So much wider in some places, and I think it's like another 10 or 12 feet longer than my current layout. So it's going to be a pretty nice size. I will share the drawings with you here shortly, but The reason why the layout is mapped out on the ground, at least the edge of it is all planning for lighting. And if we look up, you'll see I've got all this tape up there trying to figure out where I'm going to have track lights. And if I really get under the joist here, a strip of blue tape on the ceiling is where a canned light will be, you know, something like that with an LED in it. That'll be over all of the aisleways, the space that doesn't have layout. And then there'll be separate circuits for the track lighting, and that's what all of these longer strips here are. As you see, it'll pretty much follow the whole perimeter of the layout, and then there'll also be some few strips over the middle of the layout, and that's to provide as much lighting as possible wherever I need it. That track lighting with the adjustable heads really ensures that everywhere I want light on the layout will get it. It's really important for photographing and taking videos. That's one thing I couldn't really control on my last layout because I was already in the graces of my parents to let me build a layout in their basement, and I just used, you know, was grateful for the lighting I had. But for this layout, I am going to do as professional job of lighting the basement as possible. Now, I didn't think I'd have more basement progress to show, but I am editing the video for this update right now, and I have gotten a lot more done down here. I have all my canned lights in place and installed. There's 6 of them total. One there, and then 4 going down what will be the main aisleway to the layout. So those are all in, and I also finished all of the circuit wiring for the 2 track light circuits that will be in the ceiling. So all of these little blue junction boxes are where they'll tie into a track light. Here's a track light, a 4-foot section right here that's just in place for me to get an idea of the angle of the light and how it's going to fit in a space. So that was a lot of work getting all of this wire strung through to be prepared for the track lighting. And I also had to take out some circuits and tidy up a lot of stuff in the ceiling, but that's all done. I'm gonna wire power in now that these are all ready, and then it'll be time to prep the ceiling for paint. And I think, as I had mentioned before, I'm gonna be painting the ceiling black. I'm not doing drywall or a drop ceiling. These are only 7.5 foot ceilings, so I want the room to feel as open and tall as possible. So I'm doing the black painted ceiling joists, and we're really moving along. Once that ceiling's painted black, I can do some carpet tiles down here, put in all of the trim, the floor trim and the door trim for the laundry room. Then I'm painting and I'm ready to go. So making a lot of progress down here. One more thing I wanted to mention. I've had a number of people say, what happened to a bunch of the old videos that you used to post? Because I started posting videos back in 2009, back when everything on this layout was still bare wood and nothing else was up here yet. A lot of people were saying, where did all those videos go? Did you delete them? I really enjoyed them. I liked seeing all the progress you made. And I made a lot of them private for a while. I switched them just because I didn't think the video quality was very good. I didn't like, I guess, hearing the sound of my own voice from back then, and thought didn't really do a good job of presenting the layout, and I guess was kind of embarrassed of just how I presented those videos and how I put them together. But, you know, enough people, I guess, enjoy them enough that I kind of said, you know, screw it, who cares? They're fun parts of the layout to see, especially those construction times. So I went ahead and made a whole bunch of those videos public again. Probably like at least a dozen or more videos are now public again from 2009, 10, 11, 12. You can go back and watch those and see some interesting stuff. So, you know, thanks for the few of you who said something and said you'd love to see those, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed that update of the basement progress. As you can see, we're getting a lot done there, so I'll keep you updated on what's going on there. I'll leave you with footage of the trains running like I usually do. There's not going to be quite as many shots of the trains because I've worked so much to put that other video together, as I mentioned. So again, keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.